Welcome everybody to Sketchcardhive. So today we're going to be doing the Q&A as I promised, and you will be seeing a couple of different things on screen. You have my master list checklist for Silver Surfer cards. You have one camera down here who's going to be looking at my cards as I go through them, double checking my checklist because there has been some changes and some additions. So I thought this would be a fun thing to do, maybe like once every 2 months or something crazy, just a Q&A. And eventually I'd like to do this live. But for right now, we're going to do a recording because we have a list of questions that people want to know. And this is strange to have a Q&A by myself, but these are questions that people have asked me. Some are funny, some are interesting. So hopefully this is interesting to you. I will not make this a crazy long video, so I won't be able to go through all of the deliciousness of my card collection. But if you like this video and you want to see this actually become an actual video, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. You can see my inner thinking of all this stuff. This is unorganized over here. Bunch of craziness. This is, again, not updated. So we'll have to look through that. Again, this is not updated, but this is what it looks like. Here is my playmat that I created from scratch. This is all recreated elements from these 3 cards. And this is a giant playmat. And I am thinking about making some for the channel, so let me know if that's interesting to you or something you would find interesting to get. Or maybe I'll do a giveaway or something. Speaking of, there is a giveaway happening for the 1992 Marvel Masterpieces Uncut Sheet. One was just listed on eBay at a starting bid of $200. Buy it now for $6. You can get mine for free if you subscribe to this channel, like, follow, and comment. And I'll be sure to enter you in the drawing. So go ahead and check it out. So let's go ahead and get into this. Here are some cards. So these are the first ones. So I believe this is the first Silver Surfer for a trading card size. And these are, of course, these guys. Now you're seeing 3 because there's actually 3 variants. So while I let you look at that, let's go ahead and dive into one of the questions that I have on here. What are your thoughts on the 1987 Marvel Universe Comic Image Series 1 and the 1988 Marvel Heroic Origins Series 4? Can they become future Grails in the future? That is from our boy Stacking Gems, who's a rock star. Very kind individual. Love his collection. Just crazy stuff coming off of his stuff. So if you do know him, like, follow, and subscribe him. And he's just a cool cat. Well, I guess just like and follow on Instagram, but very cool guy. I'm not sure if he has a YouTube channel, but I'm sure he does. Anyway, these are the 3 variants here. So these are not the ones he's talking about. The ones he's talking about are actually these guys here, which you can see me laying them out for you. Yes, how deep does the sickness go? I tend to grab the cards that even have an appearance of the Surfer. They are not my number 1 priority, but I tend to go for them. Do I think they are future Grails? Yeah, of course they are. The first Silver Surfer I have here, maybe not the first Marvel card. The first Marvel card is the 1966. The reason those are not clamored over as much is because they don't really resemble what trading cards are today. Remember, Pokemon First Edition Shadowless is not necessarily the first iteration of Pokemon TCG. Pokemon cards existed before that, but the ones that became popular that everyone has a nostalgic feeling for happen to be the first edition Shadowless Pokemon English set base box. So it's not always just the first, it's the set that everyone feels some kind of nostalgia for, the ones that they feel that they got when they were kids, which is why I always look at 1992 Marvel Masterpieces. I look at 1990 Marvel Universe, right, which is another one. But I do think these are really interesting here as first. This right here is the 1976. There's a 1978, 1976, and I think another one too. And these are pretty fun. They're not trading cards in the sense, they're really just stickers, but because they're trading card size, it tends to be thrown in there into the mix. There are variants, and the way you can tell the variants are by the copyright information. 2 asterisk, 1 asterisk, and then you can see not in the USA is on this 3rd one. So pretty cool. These, however, do not have variants that I am aware of. They are gorgeous. I have very clean copies. I haven't sent off yet. This is a little off-centered for the back, unfortunately. I think I have another one that might be better shape. I don't know. But if you have a 10 in this, please hit me up. I'd be happy to grab it from you. These are, different villains. I think Stranger's a villain, but he's beating up my boy Surfer, so he is a villain in my book. But these two guys also have Surfer in here. They're just beautiful cards. I mean, they're gorgeous. And yeah, they are really amazing. They do have some of the information, first appearance, the conflict, and so forth. The 1987 Colossal Conflicts are these. This is 1987. This is kind of like Series 1. Number 67. These are Series 2, as you can tell. So I do think these are a buy. I think these make a lot of sense. I don't think you should be paying stupid prices for them. Do I think they will eventually be stupid? Yes. But as of right now, I don't think you need to do too much there. I think you grab them if you can. You find some nice centering, some clean corners. Like this is very off-centered, but these are actually very hard to find. They've always been kind of tough to find in the sense that they don't come up often, only because many of them are tossed to the side and not, taken seriously or whatever. These Heroic Origins ones, these are 1988. These are a little more tricky because they just have a Q&A on the back, so they don't really have that like trading card vibe, but they're beautiful cards. You know what I mean? I think it's worth having a collection. Do I think it's worth paying $2,000 for a PSA 10 of one of these? No. But I do think it's worth having a collection for sure, and I love them. I think they're beautiful. Now, these are not original art. Obviously, these are reused art. This is stencil work that Comic Images used and then had someone paint it. I've seen the production prints of these, and that's kind of how these cards were made. So they're not original art. So that does put it a little bit down for me. But do I think they're beautiful? Yes. Do I love them? Yes. Were they super easy to find in great shape? No. So I do think it's worth grabbing them, and I do think these are 1,000% potential grails. I think it just depends on the future. I think it depends on how you can also see this edge work right here is not that great. You know what I mean? So they're not in great shape either. They're not super easy. Usually their soft corners are cut as if they were put in someone's mouth and someone said chomp. But these are beautiful cards. So something to consider in the future for sure. But yeah, so I'll just leave those there. The other things that are really nice are these guys here, which are covers. Those are also pretty cool. Yeah. First Trading Cards Series 2, Comic Images. Pretty cool. Surfer up in the top corner there. And then you got the Surfer here. I have a 10 of this one, actually, a PSA 10 of that. And then this one, which is very pretty. Do I think a 10 of this is going to be super expensive? I think people will try to sell it for high money. I don't know if I would buy into it like that. I'd be skeptical first, but also I'm cheap. So you have to remember that. I'm very cheap in terms of how I approach things. We have our friend Spidey Jew here with another question. Let's check that out. Who is banned character and why, and who are they? Banned characters are tough, right? Anyone in the Fantastic Four, some X-Men, anyone related to the Fantastic Four property, some X-Men, and a few other characters too, and characters like Punisher that recently had some controversy to them. The reason they get banned is because Marvel is worried about that property, or the real big reason with the Fantastic Four is that it used to be a Fox property, and they're slowly integrating these characters back into these sets and these different merchandising properties. So we've seen Silver Surfer enter the Funko Pop market, right? Which is a good sign that all these things are coming back. And as we can tell with Kevin Feige in the MCU, they very much want to control how these characters are going to be seen from this day forward. So when these characters enter the MCU, you're going to see, based on how they write these characters into the movies, who these characters will stay close to as a form of identity. Human Torch will still be funny but arrogant. You know what I mean? Mr. Fantastic is going to be a genius. Invisible Woman, hopefully they do something with her and make her just as strong as everybody else, which she is. And the Thing is going to be, Ben Grimm. So I'm excited to see what they do with these characters and who they... Like Iron Man was not really Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. is what I'm trying to say. So, be aware that, things will change and they want to control what the identity of these characters look like for future collections. So it's kind of crazy, but also really fun to be excited about that. So I'm really looking forward to it. That's why they're banned. Can't give you an official list because they're NDA and they're not supposed to be shared publicly. But these are things I've heard in the grapevine. So let's keep going. Another question. Did Spidey Jew throw his money away buying a Spider-Man NFT instead of a physical Marvel trading card? I actually saw that exact sale, Spidey, and I saw that it was going to be the first NFT of Spider-Man thrown out there. NFT is transferable something. Well, non-blank transferable. I forgot what it was. Basically, it's a non-figure transfer, something like that. NFTs are digital commodities. Basically, they are a digital entity that exists with a specific code that allows that product to not be duplicated. Once it's basically a hard number digital image. That's it. And people are buying into it. I haven't done it only because I'm way too busy with this, and I've already chose my rabbit hole, and trying to climb out of my hole and into other holes is physically going to exhaust me. So I'm going to stay in my little cubby here and kind of just enjoy the little world I'm building for myself. I mean, if there's a Silver Surfer NFT, am I going to buy the super rare one if it's in my budget? Most likely, yes. But, I think that's how they'll get us all. So let's see what's next. Okay. All right. So next question. This is from Bob, who's an amazing friend of mine, Filler. This is his question. So many questions after your latest YouTube video. I've noticed several times you spoke about the big fish and their collections. Do most of these guys circle the main groups such as collectors? So when I first joined this hobby, I've noticed very quickly that there was this group of people who are famously known as the old guard, and they are people who have been in this hobby longer than anyone, hence the name, but they also keep their collections very secretive and very to themselves and don't really do social media a lot. So what has happened over the years is many collectors collect things now based upon what they see available to them, which is what I did when I first entered. Then after some time, after seeing some of these collections by these collectors, which I've been fortunate enough to see, so thank you to who you are, kind of quickly realized that I had no idea where the good stuff was. And I had no idea what I was doing. And very quickly, I had to make corrections to my collection and realize, okay, just because I see this card here, sketch card, insert, whatever, just because I see it here, it doesn't mean there's not others that exist that are better or more of this insert around. And that tends to be where the prices go for Marvel cards. So the whole PMG craze, if you haven't noticed this already, you probably already starting to figure this out. Try to look up a big character like Surfer, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and look at a blue PMG, which is numbered out of 50. Try to find those cards, and then very quickly you're going to realize that you're like, wait a minute, there's only 5 or 6 cards of circling this. Where are the other like 45, 44 cards of this blue? Well, it's people who have kind of picked them up early when they were expensive at the time, but not expensive for their budget, and they stockpiled. And they have a few of them. They have more than 9, more than 10, more than 20, and they trying to find the ones in the best condition. A lot of these that have been in 10s and 9s or BGS 9.5s have already been attempted to be graded or are being held in private collections. So a lot of the times, at least what's happening now, is everyone's trying to catch up because the supply is limited. And as many of you know, when supply is limited, prices go up. So yes, they are around their ears, they hear everything. But I think the best thing we can do as collectors who are a little more out there like myself and share their collections and knowledge and all this stuff is that, and this has always been my worry, is that if you collect inside a bubble and you stay to yourself, then no one has any idea what your collection is and why it's important and why is it so historical. for the hobby and to Marvel cards in general. Remember, so much of this is sharing prices, but also educating and keeping historical records of our collections, of our interest, of our hobby, of our community, of the people who are alive and well in this. And a lot of you are so interesting. Many of you have shared your stories with me. I just spoke to someone recently who shared their story, and it's just phenomenal to be able to talk to all of you and have this experience in my life. And that's kind of why I do this. This is a nice way to document this fun time that I'm having looking at cards and having a good time with all of you. So thank you, Bob. Beautiful question. Here we go from Dave Marley. Hey, buddy. Looking forward to a new video, Noran. Thank you, brother. A couple of questions. I appreciate your view on what we know that can be said publicly, at least. So true about Marvel's license to Upper Deck. Yep. I'm thinking particularly about it when it expires, but any other details too. Secondly, do you think, so firstly, Upper Deck's license with Marvel. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't think it's in jeopardy. I don't know what the future looks like, but I know Upper Deck is taking it very seriously in terms of sharing and publicizing Marvel cards in an era now where cards have hit a boom and people are excited to make their collections about trading cards. And Upper Deck is taking it very seriously, and they are going to be releasing product and doing things with our hobby that hopefully will be a lot of fun for us. Secondly, do you think the ePack platform makes Upper Deck a strongly enriched meaning would it take a lot for competitors to gain? Got to read the second half. To gain in particular to expire. Secondly, wait a minute, just catching up. ePack seems to me more crucial to Marvel cards than sports and TCG cards because of the limited distribution of Marvel cards. Yeah. Okay, if you don't know about upperdeck.epack.com, you're missing out. It's not that it's the best platform in the world. I think it works really well, and I enjoy it personally, and I think it's vital to Marvel card collectors because, as you all know, collecting Marvel cards is somewhat of a vacuum situation, right? We don't really get a lot of play. We don't get a lot of recognition. I mean, I think if you go to any card show, you're looking at one or two tables possibly having 2 or 3 holograms shoved into a box in penny sleeves, and they're in disgusting shape, which is why the hobby has been so interesting lately, because people are finally realizing, wow, these are rare. These are a no-brainer buy, and these are really cool to have a collection of and to, branch out a little bit. Upper Deck ePack allows you to see all the cards in front of you and trade with people online. So it's not like we're working on an island anymore. It's now we're working on an island that's connected to a server, so we can contact other people about cards we can possibly want, trade for, or buy. And it is the ease of buying packs online. And most of those cards are physical, so they can be shipped to you. So I think it's vital, and I think it does give Marvel cards a leg up. And I think eventually the real trick of the trade is when everyone here finds out about ePack exclusives. And when Marvel cards are starting to realize that ePack achievements and ePack exclusive Marvel cards are extremely rare and limited and physical cards. They're real cards. They're not digital cards, people. We're talking about real cards numbered out of 10, 5, rainbows, foils, like impossible things to get. And once you dive into this world, you're going to see how amazing those cards are. And I think a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves for not realizing that they should have educated themselves and understand what an ePack achievement is and how vital that is to the community. And the last part of his question, the recent remark, I think it was from Spidey Jew, hello Spidey Jew, on the Pack Fresh podcast about Marvel Pack Fresh. Check it out. It's an awesome podcast I'm part of. Very fortunate to be a part of. Marvel maybe one day be taking over control of cards. Got me thinking harder about UD's license. Yeah, I think the real conversation is always that, how do you have all these characters that are so timeless on cards and yet no one collects them? I think it's a shame that that's kind of part of this, and people are not realizing, what's the buy there, and the genius of this hobby and the scarcity of this hobby, which I really like too. So let's keep going. Oh, awesome. We have one from Marvel Card. What's up? Cards up. So we have here, with high numbered cards being a huge part of the future for Marvel, totally my opinion. Why isn't it there more talk about how 2016 and 2020 will be the hardest sets to collect because of that? Because of that, shouldn't these sets be considered future Grail since everything is numbered besides the gold foils? How's that for a run-on sentence? I love you, brother. So what's great about this here is that, yes, 2016, 2018, and 2020, anything is the buy right now. I think a lot of people are looking at this. The reason people haven't dove into those sets, if I can be honest, is because they don't exist. People have bought those. They have them quietly hidden, and it is a select few of people, and this is the truth, that have red spectrums and autos, and they are very much aware of how expensive this stuff is going to be, and they are keeping their cards secret because they are holding. Same thing happened with PMG. Same thing happened with a lot of cards. People are very much holding these cards back because they knew what they were when they collected them. And that's kind of the whole card game. You've learned it in Pokemon, Magic, or even sports. You understand the world if you've been part of it long enough. The real trick to this hobby is not frantically buying. The real trick of this hobby is patience. The real trick of this hobby is to know when you see something you really want that's 10 or less, and for a price you can afford, if you're serious about the hobby, you go in on it. If you're not serious about the hobby, then you wait and you take the chance, and that's it. But yeah, in the future, MM16, MM18, Marvel Masterpieces, Joe Jusco, 2016, Marvel Masterpieces 2018, Simone Bianchi, Marvel Masterpieces 2020, Dave Palumbo. Those are no-brainer sets. They're fully numbered. They're gorgeous. They're original art. Everybody loves them. I think the only problem that comes with those sets in the future will be subjective taste. Some people will like MM18 over MM20. Some people will like MM16 over everything else. Best thing you can do as a collector is to go by your taste and not overspend, because that will get you in trouble. But I think they are buys, as much as buys as anything, and I think they're future grails in plain sight. But the problem is currently is that they're not in plain sight. They're hidden away in private collections. And the ones you do see every once in a while, it's rare that you're seeing them pop up. And so and I just had this experience buying some of those 75th Marvel Anniversary 75th cards. People are holding many. And what they do is that they put one up and they wait for someone to buy it. And then they post their next one up and they put $20 on top of it. And then, you never realize how many cards they have waiting in the wings. But you can always rest assured with that when you buy based on condition and hard numbering. So you won't be suckered into those kind of eBay sellers. Let's go. Let's keep going. All right, here we go. We got one from a very good friend of mine, Turkey Birdies, who I'm just so happy to be friends with. We've seen your Grail Marvel card. What would be your Grail sketch card? Ooh, i.e. sketch card artist and potential layout. Dirty man. Just depends. It's scary for me to share that because I do have ideas in the works for commissions with artists. I'm on a giant wait list for one right now, so we'll see what comes of that. But when it comes to sketch cards, I can't really say what my Grail sketch card is because sketch cards are so subjective. But when I buy sketch cards, I look at artists and I look at set. Obviously, I look at art, but I look at artist and set. If it's a rare set with a rare artist, I tend to jump on it because I don't want to miss out on a rare Grail Silver Surfer sketch card. It's not so much that I see a surfer and I'm like, oh man, they painted that beautifully, blah, blah, blah. Because like I told you before, there's a lot of cards you haven't seen out there. And if you think you've seen the best sketch card of your character ever, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. There are sketch cards out there of your character that you will drool over for a lifetime. And you'll see more and more pop up, and your expectations and taste will change as you look at more and more sketch cards. My advice there is to know the artist, know the rarity of how many they drew on the set, and know how rare sketch cards are for that set to be found. Something to think about. Beautiful. Turkey Birdie, rock star. Okay, you got another question. repeat offender. How do you figure out what to buy next for your collection when you're looking at Marvel cards, sketch cards, and graded cards? Ooh, actually, that's a really great question that a turkey board you got for me. So these are pretty cool. I'm going to talk about that in a second. This is the 1990 Marvel Universe full set. Now you're looking at these three here and trying to figure out, well, what are these three cards? Let me show you. Well, let me show you these two because one is just a regular. But do you see how the light is different on the card, especially the shadow on the surfer and the board? See how the board's darker on the other one? Well, this is going to be really cool. This card is actually a promo card that came in cellophane packs and put at cons to promote the set. Very rare, very hard to find, and it has a difference in the copyright. So this is the more rare card than this one. What's really cool, though, and what people don't realize is that these were inserted in preview magazines. However, the ones inserted in preview magazines are part of an uncut sheet, and they have a dime in the middle. These do not. These are the more rare, expensive 1990 cards right here. Not a lot of people know about these, but very special. Very, very special. So back to Turkey Birdie. What do I do when I look at my Marvel collection for sketch cards and graded cards? I'm very picky. That's all I am. I'm extremely picky. I look at my set and I look at my set as a whole. A lot of times people just want to have one of everything. For me, I rather have, I'll get one of everything if it's fair priced. But if it's not, then I just don't want it. And that's fine. I can live with that. But for me, I'm more about cards that do something for my collection. Printing plates. I get every Silver Surfer printing plate I can because it's part of the production. I find them crucial to a character collector's set. You know, I look at cards, sketch cards that have artists on them that have worked on comic books, more specifically Silver Surfer comic books. So if you look at this sketch card here, and I'll show you now. Hopefully I picked it up quickly. Of course I did. Oh. Okay. So if you look at this sketch card here, this is from Bill Reinhold. Reinhold, I think. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. But this gentleman here worked on a graphic novel for Silver Surfer, and he drew the Surfer. Like, this is a major Silver Surfer comic book artist. He's a major artist, period. But he's worked on a Silver Surfer title, and I have a pack-pulled sketch card from him. That's how I look at my cards. I look at them with the significance of their historical importance and how they relate to my character specifically. You can't have it all. You're going to figure that out very soon for any of you Marvel card collectors who are just starting out. So having these kind of creative moments here can really help your collection be unique and significant to you, rather than just being, hey, I need it all. What would you give me for it? Because I think you end up compromising a lot about you yourself as a person when you deal with people who are holding things over your head, and also a lot of money that's going to be pouring out of your pocket. And because you won't have any physical attachment, emotional attachment to your cards, you're going to feel like you got kind of swindled. So I think that's a really awesome example of what Turkey Birdie's asking. And I know he collects the same way, in the same regard. So let's keep going. So what's this one? Honest question. Why the Silver Surfer? Does this go back to your childhood or a character you came to love as an adult? So Surfer has always been in my life, as crazy and strange as that is to talk about with a fictional character. But funny enough, this is actually my very first Silver Surfer card. You can see those edges. I was not as good as a collector as I was now. This card was loved. It was carried in my wallet, my pocket, while I rode my bike. This was everything to me. You can see the power meter here. You can read his whole background. I learned more about my character from cards than I ever did reading his comic books. I've read everything, but there was something personal about having the card. I felt like I was closer to this character that I admired. So for me, growing up, the Surfer was kind of, he wasn't like other comic book heroes, right? I mean, he wasn't itching to get into a fight, right? He didn't have to save the world. Surfer was an explorer, and exploring the world was his biggest wants and desires. And I totally related to that. And when he got into fights, he'd rather talk to someone than hurt them because he was ultra powerful. And I admired that, the ability to be able to do whatever you want, but still show restraint. And that was Surfer. I felt close to that character, more close than any other superhero or, example of a character. I think when you grow up, I think most of us who are in this, we grow up and we look at these characters and we imagine ourselves as these characters, as dorky as that is. But I think also we feel kingship, right? We feel closer to these characters because we can look at these characters and be like, this is a really cool character and he does what I do, so he can't be a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, and all this kind of stuff. That was way too deep than it needed to be. But Surfer, very cool. Always liked him since I was a kid. I think I was like 7 or 6 when I first discovered the Surfer. And the card stuff has always been, I've always been a huge fan of cards because I liked to put them off to the side. I thought they were special. I could keep them to myself. I didn't have to share them with us. Where I could keep it in a box. Very much a cat type of person. And just really, really enjoyed the sets and always enjoyed cards. So this was a natural progression. Let's keep going. So another question from Turkey Birdie himself. Here's another question. If you're looking for more, I am. What Marvel sets inserts do you think will become more popular as new collectors enter Marvel card hobby? We will see sports card theme inserts, PMG Jambalayas, Platinum Portraits, TI-22s continue to grow in popularity of nostalgia-based sets, Metal Ultra Flare. So he's asking basically, will sports inserts always be the thing Marvel card collectors are into compared to other sets that have their own unique things like Metal, Flare Ultra, and Flare? Personally, I think Marvel needs to have an identity of its own. I think for a long time we've been riding the coattails of sports insert cards and giving us value because they are valuable in sports. And I think that's a shame. I think that's really messed up. There's just so many cool things about Marvel cards that people don't know. For instance, if you look at these cards here, right? These are considered pretty amazing cards and they are specific. So these are... So if you look at this one, for instance, right, this is a comic cover signed by Del Otto. That's pack pooled, silver signature, Gabriel Del Otto. You know who he is if you're a comic book fan. And it's signed with a COA pack pooled, right? First edition, first cover of Silver Surfer, signed by Stan Lee, pack pooled. COA, pack pooled card. Joe Cena, pack pooled. This is an insert from Marvel cards. This is something specific to us. Right? These kind of autograph covers, right? You also have, that's a pretty good printing plate, right? My boy Andrew gave me that one. Well, helped me acquire it, I should say. So, for instance, if you're looking at like Marvel cards specifically, you also have something called shadow boxes, right? Look at that. These are amazing. Could you imagine them doing this for X-Men animated series or Fantastic Four animated series or Spider-Man shadow boxes animated series, little cells? Animated cells, you can't beat that. That's awesome. Covers, patch covers from the classic corners. You're gonna tell me that's not cool? 2012 Marvel premiere. I just think that our identity's been too close to sports cards for a long time, and there are so many good Marvel card inserts out there that need to keep having the legacy and prestige that sports cards have. And the only way we're going to do it is by continuously being consistent with certain inserts and increasing the rarity and putting hard numbers on them. I think it's a significant thing. There's some beautiful cards out there. So it's just something to seriously consider. And that's what I hope to see it. I think the inserts that relate back to sports cards will always be the most popular and most expensive just because the audience is bigger. But I think once more people come into this hobby, which they are every day pouring in, more people will look at Marvel cards and think, okay, this is what I like. This is what's unique to this hobby. I want to be a part of this hobby. I'm going to invest and, collect more specifically these cards because I like them. And I think that will create value over time. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Tony Perna, who's an amazing sketch card artist, a legacy sketch card artist, asked me, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? I don't. Yes, of course I have. Give me a break, Tony. You know I have. You were there. You filmed it. That was a weird night. Was it the devil? No, let's not talk about that. We'll keep going. All right, what else do we have? How long have you been collecting? By Penn Gallon. Hey, buddy. And what's your most favorite set in the world? In the world. It's pretty good. I could have had a voice for trailers. Ken, how about long I've been collecting? So I think about collecting in two ways. I think about collecting since I was a kid, since I was 7, so years, because I'm 35 now. And then I think about like professionally collecting, if that makes sense, where, you know, you kind of start collecting based on condition, based on having a goal. So I think that's 9+ years, more than that. For sure, that's where like I started like saying, you know what, I'm going to do all the Silver Surfer cards. I think that's when it started, where I was like, here's the sum I have from when I was a kid. You know what, I kind of want to have all of the Surfer cards. I want to have an example of each one in my collection. And the moment that decision happened was like 9 years ago, more than that. And I started hunting on eBay, got more involved in the groups, met all of you lovely people, and continuing that objective today. I'm very close now. Just missing an MM16 Surfer auto. So if you have that, be grateful. If you could, or lead me in the right direction, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So there you go. Okay, and I actually think that was the last question that I had a record of. Well, this was awesome. So these are my cards. Again, you know, I think what I'll do is do a live video where I go through my Surfer cards and kind of maybe just see what I'm excited to buy, and, you know, going through my checklist, as you can see on the screen now, and share all that with you there. But thank you for all joining me on this episode. Remember the giveaway. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on my Instagram, like all that kind of goodies. The description the how to enter in the contest will be in the description down below. And thank you so much. Again, I'm Sketchcardhive, and I'll see you soon.